Welcome to Dan Talks United. Fucking robbed. Officiating in this country is fucking shit. Now, I'm not saying that we played well, but got a comment here. If it's a pen for Evan Nielsen, it has to be for Ahmad. Fucking robbed. True. I think at that stage, as the comment saying here, if we get that penalty and we score it, we're 2-0 up. And even if we miss it, we're still 1-0 up. And you prevent that fast breakaway after that missed penalty shout where they've gone up the other end and scored. But anyway, get back on track with things. It's fucking Bournemouth 2, Manchester United 2. And much as I sort of predicted that we'd beat them 2-0, because obviously I thought we were good for that, with Bournemouth being, I know they haven't lost per se, but they're not a very good team, especially with the players that they've got missing and players that they've sold. They're not the same Bournemouth that turned up at Old Trafford and got 4-4, although it looked like they were today. And yes, we haven't beat them for, what is it, 3 years or so, but should be beating Bournemouth. Any place we should be beating Bournemouth. Pretty shit, to be fair, overall. Again, the game changer is the referee for me. Always the same. It always feels like the referees are against your own team, and obviously with a clear head and calmness, that isn't quite the truth, because I think refereeing's pretty shit in most games. But it just feels like every time we watch a Manchester United game, unless we're absolutely clear of the other team, that the ref just gets in the fucking way. And here we are again. Here we are again. So, got Bruno on 61 minutes, scores the pen after rightly judged penalty when Cunha has good play, skips into the box and gets pulled back. Christie, after that penalty shout, that should have been a penalty on Ahmad, goes up the other end and spots it in bottom corner. And then we come back, to be fair, and go to 2-1. Corner, looks like Maguire had scored at first, but when you look at the replay, you notice that it's a goal by Hill. And then, controversial decision to award Bournemouth a penalty, which was very similar to the one that he should have awarded for Ahmad, but he gives it to Bournemouth. Maguire, yes, stupid, shouldn't be pushing the player, shows his lack of pace, gets done for pace, gets done on the turn. No alternative but to push him. He is the last man, gets a red card, and it is a penalty. Just that if that's a penalty, then Ahmad's is a penalty. So, and if you give Ahmad's penalty, we're not in this situation, because for me, we end up going up 2-0, or we maintain the 1-0, but we don't have that fast break on us. So, whichever way you look at it, the referee has fucked shit up there. And then it ends 2-2. So, again, get your comments in. And that's in. I know it's a late one, won't be on very long. Thanks for the comments so far. Just go over that sort of first half then. Again, very similar sort of start to some of the games, to be honest with you. Was early chance. Ahmad had a shot at goal, but well saved by Bournemouth's keeper. Cunha then also gets an opportunity as well. White make it. And then, to be fair, Bournemouth in parts in that first half had plenty of energy. Sort of played how I would expect him to play, where got plenty of energy. They are trying to press us a bit, but in that final third, wasn't really expecting. I did think Cunha was looking pretty bright down that left hand side. So he doesn't really hug that touch line, but was looking pretty bright down that left hand side. And then roughly sort of 16 minutes in, there was a counter that ended with Dalot passing low to Bruno. Shot just deflected for a corner. Then they had a shot, like I say, Lamons had a sort of good save below his left post. Then, to be fair, actually, because in the first half, I think Wire sort of shoves Evan Nielsen first half as well, actually, and sort of got waved away by the ref, but wasn't really, he barely touched him on that one, to be honest, so I wouldn't call that one a penalty. Then, around 24 minutes, sort of a nice 1-2 between Bruno and Cunha. Then Cunha crosses to Ahmad. Sort of half volleys it, but it gets blocked. Now, again, we need to speak about Ahmad, to be honest with you. Obviously, we'll come on to who's played well and who hasn't played well, but just really early, and anybody that's coming in now, and again, like I say, I know it's getting late, and as I've started the show, just to say, the fucking referee, shocking refereeing. If you're going to give one, you've got to give the other. Or if you're not going to give one, you don't give the other. And it's like the referee's fucking bottled it. Absolutely bottled it. Because seeing it as, and obviously I'd have to see the replay again, but I'm sure the ref was sort of thinking about giving the Ahmad penalty and then sort of thought, wait a minute, I've just given him a penalty. So he's thinking, do I do it again? Maybe flack. But at the end of the day, if it's a penalty, that's on Bournemouth. That isn't on the referee. If Bournemouth defend in that manner and give away 2 penalties, that's their problem. So I'm not sure why referees bottled it there. And then suppose the referee's not thinking that Bournemouth are just going to race up the other end and score, but that's what's happened. So then you've given yourself an issue then because you haven't given the penalty. Your knobheads in VAR have backed you. Then Bournemouth have gone and scored, and then it's almost like, oh well, Bournemouth that scored. Oh well, who cares? Again, there's a lot of shit refereeing across the board, but it always feels like these pricks can't stand Manchester United. What can you do? Friday drink. So, 26 minutes in, fucking Dalot strikes again. Takes a shot from absolute distance and fucking balloons it over the bar. And that's just fucking Dalot for you. I mean, there's players ahead of him, could have passed, decides not to pass, takes a shot. Now, if that's Cunha taking a shot from there, you don't mind so much, but Dalot, when was the last time Dalot scored? Anyway, 1 or 2 coming in. Put your comments in. How do you think this game went? Do you think we were robbed? Come on. What's your opinion on that refereeing decision? I think we need to speak about this evening. What is your opinion on that refereeing decision? Ahmad was pushed and shoved to the ground. It looked like he was wrestled to the ground. Then you've got later on with Maguire, and he has put his hands on Evan Nielsen. So again, I'm not saying it's not a penalty, but what about the Ahmad one? As SJG says here, should have been a pen for Ahmad. Yep. Fucking disgrace. Sick of these fucking refs. They are anti-Manchester United. Now, obviously, I'm not going to say they're anti-Manchester United. It feels like they are when you're watching the game. I have seen some shocking refereeing decisions across the board at times. It just feels like there's more geared towards us. I know, and that absolute knobhead, Dermot Gallagher, who does that ref watch, you just know he's not going to mention the Ahmad one. He's going to back his colleagues in a sense. I know he's probably not part of the refereeing association anymore, but he's gonna back his colleague or ex-colleagues, say, yeah, clear pen, which he'll be right by saying that. and he definitely hates Manchester United, that prick. But he will definitely say it's a pen because it is. And he's last man, so it is a red. But the point remains, we don't get to that position if you referee the game properly. Maybe we should have done what Chelsea did and just like did a call it huddle at the start of the match and then put the referee in the middle like Chelsea did. Oh, fucking disgrace. It's like I say, there's people coming in. Please put your comments in. Please tell me how you feel this game went. Do you think we deserve to draw? Do you think Bournemouth were looking good for the win or a draw? Or do you think, like I do, that we've been done by a refereeing decision? It's just so frustrating to draw that game. Yes, we didn't lose, but it's so frustrating to draw that game knowing that after tonight, you're going to have all the other teams that are play. They could then gain on us in terms of points. So if Villa win, for example, or Chelsea or what have you, Liverpool win, they're going to gain points on us. Sort of stops us sort of solidifying that third position, for example. And on top of that, there's the international break, and we don't really play for another like 3 weeks now. So we can't even get back on this and sort of get some points on the board again. You've just a long, long wait until that Leeds game. And that Leeds game is going to be a tough game. So it's just shit, really. Absolutely fucking shit. So again, comments here, thought VAR was there to be the second pair of eyes, yet we are exactly from SJG there. And that's correct. They're not there to back up the refereeing decision per se. They'll back it up if it needs backing up because it's correct. If it's incorrect, and again, it's got to be a clear and obvious mistake and all this bullshit, but and again, you might say wave that on because it's one of those where they're sometimes given, sometimes not. But in the same game, you can't then give one that's softer than that. Now, I'm not saying it isn't a penalty. I have to keep saying that. But you can't give one that's less of a penalty when you didn't give one that was more of a penalty. It doesn't make any sense. Again, what do you guys think? Whoever's watching, what do you think? So, 33 minutes in-ish. Ahmad steals the ball, halfway line. This is still first half, by the way. Fast break into Bruno and into Cunha and plays Ahmad through. Now, this is where I got frustrated with Ahmad because Cunha plays a decent pass into Ahmad, and if he controls it properly, he's one-on-one with the keeper. And you're expecting, I know he's not particularly on goal scoring form, Ahmad, but you're expecting that he could round the keeper, he could slot it in, pick his spot, but the control was absolutely awful. Absolutely fucking awful. But it's one of those, isn't it? These late games sometimes just brings frustration and seems to impact this team playing on strange days in a sense and at strange times. But again, this is your own doing. As you were shocking last season, this is your own doing. You're high up in the table and you're finishing the European spots. You'd be playing Wednesday night, Tuesday night, Thursday night at the worst, but you won't be playing Fridays and Mondays and all this fucking shit. But anyway, can't blame the day, can't blame the time. You're playing against Bournemouth. I appreciate that they're unbeaten, I believe, in what was it, the last sort of maybe 5 games or so. But they don't score many unless they play against us, because in this season, that's 6 goals. Don't score many unless it's against us. And they've drawn 4 of their last games. So this is now 5 games in a row that they've drawn. And we have generally been on good goal scoring form, stroke results wise. Apart from that, well, hopefully a sort of blip against Newcastle. So there's no explaining this, but again, there's that sort of omen of going to a stadium that you haven't won in for a while, and then go in there and still not winning. So you go to Newcastle, haven't won there for 6 years, you still don't win. In fact, you come out of there with a loss, and they're 10 men down, or they're not 10 men down, they're down to 10 men. Then you go to Bournemouth now, who are not on form. Okay, not haven't really lost, but they're not on form. They're not the best team. They've lost a lot of their star players, and come out of there 2-2. And again, obviously the refs got a lot to do with this, but you still got enough. Another thing as well, before I continue in that first half, what is the substitutions about, Carrick? But we'll come on to that probably. 34 minutes in, ball played across the box. Bruno connects on the sort of half volley, but the keeper actually, really good save. And first viewing, it looked like it crossed the line. See, obviously, everybody's doing the sort of check your watch ref, but when you watch the replay, keeper saves in front of the line with his feet, and it's a good save, to be fair to the keeper. So coming on to the second half then, and obviously this is where you're just feeling that normally we're better in the second half. Hopefully that we'll come out from, fast out the traps, go for Bournemouth, you name it. And I think, like I said, I don't think we particularly played well across the game, but there was times where I felt like we were in control. But again, there was an early chance though, sort of first minute into the second half. And Burmo gets played down the left, who's not on form, by the way, for me. Don't know what's going on with him. Although, and I don't know what you guys think, I think I probably would have taken Ahmad off, left Burmo on, but anyway, moved Burmo to the flank. Let's go up top. Played down the left hand side anyway. Slips whilst he's trying to cross the ball and sort of went for a corner then. 58 minutes in. Lovely skill by Cunha, and that's where you get the penalty because he sort of skips inside into the box. I don't think Jimenez knew what he was doing, and then he pulls him back. Now, that was a penalty, definitely. And to be fair, all the shouts were penalties. It's just that the referee wasn't consistent. And to be fair, we probably wouldn't have known if Evan Nielsen's was a penalty because, again, how things would happen, how things would play out, I would expect that get the penalty when Ahmad goes down, Bruno steps up to take it, slots it in, 2-0 up, Bournemouth's heads are down. That's what should have happened. So anyway, Bruno takes the penalty, does his hop and skip sort of thing, sends the keeper the wrong way and slots nicely in right hand side. 66 minutes in then, Bournemouth defender, as we're just saying, wrestles Ahmad to the ground, in my opinion. Again, there was enough in it there for me, penalty, but referee bottles it. Bournemouth run up the other end and slots Christie, that slots it in nicely, unfortunately, in the bottom corner. Now, this is another thing, again, don't want to get on Lamon's back or anything. Again, if there's people watching, please put your comments in. Don't be shy. Let's have a chat about things. Friday night, get your drinks out. Let's have a chat. Are we pissed off? Are we pissed off at refs? Have we had enough of refs? Have we had enough of refereeing in this? Or is just refereeing across the board just shit anyway? But it's affecting our game for me. It's not good enough. So, was saying, was it Christie? I'm sure. Yeah, Christie scores on 67 minutes. They've raced her away on the other end. Obviously, it should have been hauled and stopped there for a penalty. But in any case, they go up the other end. Referee's probably thinking that, or not even thinking that Bournemouth were going to score. Yes, we should have defended better, definitely, but slots in nicely. 70 minutes, and Burma comes off, substitutes. on for Sesko. This is where I think Ahmad for me should have probably gone off. But anyway, again, I don't know what you guys think. Watching 71 minutes in, corner in from Bruno, goes in off Hill. So obviously, I was saying earlier, it looked like the way Maguire was celebrating. I thought actually Maguire had done his usual slab head and scored, but it came off Bournemouth player. So, then not so. Probably about a few minutes later after that was a really lovely shot from Christie from outside the box, hits the crossbar, comes down and hits Lamonz's back. Now, normally those go in the back of the net, so very lucky there that that didn't go in the back of the net. Didn't know anything about it, Lamons, but lucky for him, comes off his back, sort of his shoulder, sort of thing, then goes out for a corner. So very lucky in that situation. Then a couple of minutes later is the decision where the ball sort of played through. Evan Nielsen sort of spun. Maguire hasn't gone on and panics and sort of. I don't think he really holds him for very long, but it does pull on him. It does go down. Can't blame him for that. His last man, I think he probably would have been better fly tackling him and missing because at least then you could say that he was going to tackle him. Whereas when you pull him back, you're clearly obstructing him or stopping him in a goal scoring position, sort of thing, and going to be judged for a red card there. Now, if he goes to the ball and cleanly goes to the ball, he may come out of there with a yellow and stays on the pitch. So even if they do get a penalty, still got 11 men on the pitch. So very rash decision from Maguire. Again, it's one of those where you've got to see it back and digest things when you're a bit calmer. Again, for anybody what's watching in here at the minute, put your comments in. What do you think? Do you agree that it should have been a penalty to Bournemouth? I think it is, but again, it shouldn't have been because we shouldn't have got that far. So obviously, Krupe, who comes on as a substitute, I think he scored against us before. Should have been someone that I should have thought about when I was doing the prediction. That is someone that's just one of those players, isn't there? There's always those one or two players that like to score against Manchester United and type of player that we like to make look good as well. Because I just think he's just a shit player. I think pretty much all those Bournemouth players are shit, but we make them look good, don't we? This is what Manchester United do. So anyway, steps up, sends Le Mans the wrong way. I always thought Le Mans was not bad at penalties, but since he's come to Manchester United, he's not really been anywhere near a penalty really in terms of saving it. Then there's 9 minutes added on. Must admit, I wasn't really happy about that because I never thought we were going to score. Going back to what I was saying earlier about substitutions, and again, I don't know what people think who may be in here, is I felt the substitutions were negative. Agate coming on just seems to ruin things. He is getting worse. Maybe it's a confidence thing, but he's just shit. He's just plain shit. He's one of those where I just let you go for free because you're absolute wank. The best way to describe your absolute bag of shit. I don't know if there's anything that he did well when he came on that pitch. I know he gave a corner away towards the end of the game. You're just thinking, for fuck's sake, seriously. Like, I was almost going to say I'd have preferred Malacia on, but that's a lie. But I'd have definitely put a youth player on. In fact, I was more thinking to put Mount on in the middle. So take Casemiro off because he wasn't a yellow. Put Mount on in his position. Yes, he's not a number 6, but he's got the energy. He can actually put the foot on the ball. This knobhead, Agate, he's just needs to fuck off. And you can see why Enrique got rid of him from PSG. I don't even think he played him. He just wanted rid of him because he must have watched him in training and thought, you're shit, because all you do is run around like a dog, which you can be good if you want to, press and chase teams down, but in terms of technical ability, passing. But to be fair, even his defensive work's been shocking. And I'm not going to blame him for any goals or anything, but been a lot of times he's come on the pitch and then we seem to have just nosedived when he comes on the pitch. And I think it was very negative. I'd like to have seen us have that approach that Newcastle had against us. It was like when Newcastle went down to 10 men, they upped their intensity, they upped their energy. They thought, you know what, we've got nothing to lose, let's just go for them. And they beat us. And I just think, again, this is Bournemouth. Right, we've lost Maguire, I get it, but play three at the back, put an extra midfielder in, maybe take an Ahmad off, because for me, you've taken Cunha off, and I think that's another problem. I don't know why you'd take Cunha off in that situation for me, because he, for me, was one of the better players. And I think we lost something when he came off the pitch. We lost that ability that if we're going to be on the break, to have that player that could finish, or that player that could set something up or cause some chaos. Um, just very strange substitution. I don't mind Heaven coming on per se, but Agate didn't get it. Didn't fucking get that one. So, like I say, 9 minutes added on, made no fucking difference. Don't think we fashioned much of a chance in that time scale. In fact, we were probably more under the cosh more than anything else. It was looking like Bournemouth was more likely to score, and I was sort of fearing that we're going to get to a point where we might be losing this game, to be honest. So, yeah, not fucking great. Really quickly, just have a look at numbers wise. What was going on in terms of stats, to be fair. Just disappointing for a Friday, for the first game of the weekend, to now have to watch the other teams or see the other teams' results, and then international break, FA Cup, whatever you name it, and waiting, 2 or 3 weeks to play again against Leeds. Horrendous. So really quickly then, they've got more possession in the end. Expected goals 1.57 to our 1.77. Very, very close there. They had 16 shots in total to our 14. They had 2 big chances, so did we. Stats wise, almost, it's looking almost like it was an even game, but for the main part, for the most part of the game, to be fair, I would say we were the better team. It's just that we just didn't make the chances that we sort of created count, and obviously impacted by referee robbing us, in my opinion. So let's quickly just talk about who has played well. I'm just a quick look at proceed. Let's that on screen. So, as always, Arsenal, who are going to win the league, at top of the league. City, 9 points behind there in second. Then we're still in third at the moment, 55 points. 4 points ahead of Villa, who obviously have a game to play. Liverpool, 6 points ahead of them, who have also got a game to play. And Chelsea, where we're 7 points ahead of them, and they've also got a play. So, yes, it'll be interesting to see how, if that changes much over the weekend, because obviously it's got to almost sit and hope that these other teams falter a little bit and keep that sort of little bit of distance between us. But having a look there, actually, let's have a quick look at fixtures. So Liverpool got Brighton. Strange one that with Brighton. I just don't know what Brighton you're going to get in that one. Got Chelsea versus Everton. That could be quite tricky for Chelsea. So it'll be interesting, that one. And then I know there's the League Cup final coming up as well between Arsenal and City. And then you've got other ones in the chasing pack there. Villa against West Ham. Again, that could be interesting. And then got a bit of a relegation scrap there. Very interesting. Spurs and Forest. So let's just quickly get on to who believes played well and if all a man of the match. So really quickly, who's played well? I mean, I think Bruno did all right at parts. It wasn't his best game, but I think he was trying. Almost say he almost got an assist, but it doesn't quite count when it's an own goal. What Mano doing all right in that engine room? Decent tackles here and there, decent passing out of midfield, coverage in the box as well at times. I think Shaw had the odd sort of interception. I did think Lamont's played all right in terms of just calming the game down and catching. I know it's all bread and butter stuff and all easy things, but hard to say he was top performer with conceding 2 goals, to be honest. Would have said Maguire was all right up until that point of getting that red card. Yoro was decent, but struggling really because I didn't like Mbermo's performance really. Didn't like Ahmad's. Didn't like Dalot's. Casemiro was a little bit quiet. So yeah, sort of hard pressed to say anybody else, to be honest. And then man of the match, not that there was anything like a barnstorming performance or anything, but I'm going to give it to Cunha. I think he was, giving it a good go down that left-hand side. I think he made the first goal in the sense of getting the penalty. I think there was, 1 or 2 good touches here and there. Obviously trying to drive the ball forward. So yeah, if I was pushed, gun to my head, I'd give it Cunha. But again, not much between them, to be fair to you. So just to wrap things up then, because I know it's getting late, Friday night and what have you. League position still 3rd at the moment. I would say, looking at things that the likelihood is we will, no matter what, I believe. Villa win. Yeah, if Villa were to win, we're still a point ahead of them. And Liverpool was to win, a couple of points ahead of them anyway. So, yeah, it's not all doom and gloom in that sense. Good to get a point. At least it just gives us a little bit more of a cushion for now. But obviously disappointing not to get the 3 points. The draw in the end, especially the way it was looking at times where Bournemouth might even score and get the win. We have to just take that, I suppose. It is what it is now. So, yeah, we'll keep 3rd until next time. Got Leeds next, as I was saying. Overall, very disappointing. Really thought we were going to get 3 points today before we kicked the ball. Parts of the game when I'm watching it, I'm thinking, yeah, we're looking good for this when we went sort of 2-1 up in particular. But letting that lead slip, getting that red card for Maguire, bit of a shit show for us now because we've got Martinez out still. Don't know if he's going to be back for that Leeds game. So we're probably looking at a pairing of Yoro and Heaven at centre-back. De Ligt looks like he's out for the season. There's just more doom and gloom. You're listening to transfer reports, I think Fabrizio and Romano sort of saying that obviously midfield targets probably Baleba still on the cards, but Anderson is being pursued by City. I mean, I don't want to say it because I don't want to get done for saying stuff, but if they have with the Chargers, and if that's happening, they seem to be ignoring this, and they are. I don't know what else I expect them to do, but it sometimes makes you feel like, do they know something we don't? They're just motoring ahead and looking to buy players. They're starting to advance talks with Anderson's agent. That is what I suppose Wilcox and the rest of them are classing as our top target for the summer to replace Casemiro. So that's Anderson at Forest. But City are stealing a march there with some advanced talks with the agent and sort of putting their interest there ahead of the summer. So disappointment all round this weekend. Possibly losing out on our top target for the summer. Dropped 2 points. just have to hate watch now, don't we? We have to hate watch Liverpool, hope that they drop points against Brighton, hate watch Villa, hope they drop points. Same with Chelsea. Not really worried too much about anybody else, if I'm honest, whether that's right or wrong. Newcastle were sort of picking up a little bit, but they possibly are knocked from that 7-2 loss against Barcelona in the week in Europe. So not looking great, that. And again, we don't want another blow where we're losing that sort of coefficient points in Europe, because obviously we need English teams that are in Europe this season to do well so that we can get all 5 spots for Champions League positions. Obviously, if that falters and maybe like a Spain leapfroggers, and I don't know how it fully works, but we don't want to be losing that additional spot if we can help it. So, right, as always, then, going to wrap things up. On to the next game then. Leeds, be another tough game, to be fair. Been pretty decent at home. I think they're scrapping for their lives because they don't want to get sucked into that relegation sort of tussle. Who knows now if Spurs are going to turn things round after their winning midweek, although they get knocked out. They've beat Atletico, so that might put them on trajectory now of beating the drop. I think they'll beat the drop anyway, but we'll see. But as always, everybody enjoy your Friday night, enjoy your weekend, and let's be here watching. Thanks again for watching Dan Talks United. Please like, please share, and just as importantly, if not more, hit that subscribe button. Really important. But again, thanks again. Poor result.